I hope, a short series of focused animated tutorials for version 9, which we'll publish on the website, and which are designed to support the one-day introductory level workshop that we do. Now, you may obviously look at these if you haven't done the workshop, but it will be probably of more use if you have. The first one we're going to look at is just creating a project and importing sources, very basic. So to do that, we'll start with our welcome screen, which you'll see when you launch NVivo 9, and we'll create a new project which we'll call My Project. Now, normally in here we would put, I'm going to type in FOI for focus of inquiry, or the research question. If we put that here, it will sit at the top of every report that we run, and be a kind of a nice descriptive piece of our project, which hopefully will keep us grounded in the research question and help us to avoid that overcoding trap that we talked about in the workshop. And you get a brand new database, which is what you're looking at here. And the first thing we have to do is set up our folders to organize our sources into. So I'm going to create a new folder here under internals, and I'm going to call it schools data. And because we have two participant types, I'm going to organize my data by participant type. So I'll have one subfolder under the schools data for teachers, and I have one for the pupils. And so I organize my data that way for a reason which will become more apparent when we look at coding in a later tutorial. This level here, I would probably put together another folder, something like at this level for perhaps literature, if I'm planning to do my lit review in NVivo. Now, normally I'm ready to import at this point, and I would normally import my teachers in here and my pupils in here. But because just want to show you, to demonstrate how easy it is to reorganize your data, if you just change your mind later on after you import, I'm going to import everything in here and then just reorganize it. So I'm going to right click here to import my documents, in this instance text files from Word, but they could just as easily be audio files, videos, images, indeed any kind of file that I'd like to work with in a qualitative study. So I'm going to just browse for the files here, and here they are. So you can see we're using a naming convention, which makes sense, whether it's a site or a teacher, and what kind of whether it's a pupil or a teacher, and what kind of whether it's one of 3 locations that the data was collected in. And you'll see from the taskbar down here that NVivo then starts to import the data, and we'll reorganize it now as soon as that's completed. So now our import is complete, and you can see all of the files are now sitting in the schools data folder. I can see that because I can see it selected here, but I can also see the name of any folder that I select displayed here. But of course my teachers and my pupils belong in separate folders. So I'm going to select, using the shift and the arrow down key, my first batch of pupils, and I'm going to relocate them by simply dragging and dropping them into the pupils folder. And I'll do the same for my teachers. So I'll select my 3 teachers and organize them in there, and that'll be the process. We'll select our second site, and we'll move our pupils in here, and we'll select our second group of teachers, and this, as I said, is the same exactly for any kind of media file that you want to work with in NVivo. So there's our last batch of pupils going over, and our last batch of teachers. And you'll see later on why that information and that naming convention and folder structure will be important when we look at coding. Our next tutorial then will focus on linking your case nodes and your attributes so that you can do a more advanced analysis.